Hi, and welcome to my page, Azuri Glow Up. So, my name is Tiffany, and this page will actually follow my gastric sleeve journey. On this page, I'm going to talk about everything from why I made the decision to pre op, getting ready for pre op, surgery, everything that's involved in the vertical sleeve journey that a person generally takes. Uh, there's so much information on the internet, so I figure, hey, why not be able to provide people with a live video feed or videos um, chronologically for the process that you go through. So that's pretty much what this page is going to be about. So for anybody who may be interested in going through this journey, definitely be sure to subscribe to this channel because I'm going to provide you with so much research and so much information because this is actually something that I've been thinking about doing for the last 4 years. 4 years ago, when I first started thinking about it, and I went to the bariatric surgeon, he told me what I would have to give up. And I was like, nah, that's all right. But it didn't change the fact that in the future, I figured maybe I still would be interested in it. So I still steadily researched information on it and just thought about the different alternatives that are out there. So, definitely, like I said, be sure to follow this page, hit the subscribe button below so that you can stay on track with it. But for all those who are wondering, what is the gastric sleeve? What is the VSG as it's commonly referred to? So, the VSG stands for a vertical sleeve gastrectomy. And so what it is it's a minimally, slipping on my words right there. A minimally invasive procedure. Let me read it straight from Penn Medicine. During which the size of the stomach is reduced to 3 or 4 ounces. So your stomach, a lot of people, I don't know if you grew up hearing it, but I grew up hearing people say, well, your stomach is about this big. Nah, no, it's not. Most people have stretched their stomachs out, because we consume more than we should when it comes to food. These full plates that we're getting, it stretched our stomachs out. So what the VSG does is it actually slims it down to look like about a banana. It's in the shape of a banana, and so they cut off a part of your stomach. But back to the definition. This limits the amount of food you can eat to help you lose weight. After a VSG, levels of ghrelin, a hunger hormone, also drop. So your appetite is initially reduced. Patients who choose VSG can expect to lose up to 60% of their excess body weight. So it pretty much slims it down to about the shape of a banana, and because of it taking so much of a portion of your stomach off, that hunger hormone disappears too. So, and that's one of the things that I've battled with at least for the last year during COVID. Just never feeling satisfied. You eat and you never feel full. And especially with the size and portions that we're eating most of the time, you know, those portions should make you feel full, but you don't. And part of it is also psychological, of course, because you think about it. How many of you all have seen all the different food recipes and all that stuff when you're going through Instagram? If food is everywhere and you're always thinking about it. So, it makes it difficult to not think about food. But yeah, so that's what I'm getting. I'm getting the VSG, and I finally decided to go through with it because I realized that I'm a type of person, and this isn't for everyone, but I'm a type of person where, yeah, I can figure out something that works and I can do it, but I'm not consistent. And I'm not consistent because mentally I have to be in a position where it's like that kid that touches the stove. Some kids, they stay away from the stove, but other kids, they have to feel a little bit of that heat. I have to feel the heat, So yeah, I may do keto, I may do Atkins. I may do, you know, water diet. Although I will say that water diet does really work if you just want to reset your body. But I may do all of those things, but to stay consistent with it, like it has to be an imprint on my mind that, okay, trauma's going to hit if you don't stay consistent with it. Perfect example. Years ago, I gave up sodas. Then, for whatever reason, a couple of years later, I decided, oh, I'm just going to try a Pepsi. Thought I was going to have a heart attack. I kid you not, like chest pains, I just knew it was it. It was the end. Come to find out, no, it was just because my body wasn't used to soda anymore. That carbonation was taking its toll on my body because my body wasn't used to drinking sodas anymore. So I haven't drunk a soda since. And every time I look at soda, I remember that situation, and it literally is like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. And so with the vertical sleeve, what ends up happening is you have to, you're because of the surgery, you're forced to eat properly, at least for the pre-op and the post-op period of time that you're doing it. Because if you don't, you can throw your whole body into a complete traumatizing shambles. I've had friends that have had this. My sister-in-law has had this. And I've seen the effects of trying to cheat the system when it comes to having this surgery and trying to go off track. So I know that it will more than likely work for me. So when it came to my research that I was doing, I am a big advocate of just nonstop research. Any research I can get my hands on, I'm going after it so that I can make sure that I'm fully prepared with as much knowledge as possible when it comes to making a lot of different life decisions, especially ones that are permanent. So I checked out Real Self, and I read so many people's different reviews. I talked to people that I knew personally that went through these surgeries. I also followed them. Like, I paid attention to those people. They're my friends and they're my family. So I have the ability to just keep in touch with them to see how they're doing, get their input, what has worked for them, what did not work for them, the different struggles that they dealt with, as well as just doing a lot of medical research on the process and the pros and cons to it. I didn't just focus on the pros, but I also looked at the cons, and I thought about who I am as a person. Are the cons that could result from it something that I can avoid? Are those things that I can be proactive about in order to ensure that I don't run into any complications and so forth? So I just nonstop research. It wasn't like a quick decision that I made. Like, I've been looking into this for a couple of years, so um, that's what I did. But also, I spoke with different doctors. So I went to see a doctor at GW Hospital, and initially, and that's who I spoke to about it. I also spoke to a doctor in Bethesda, Maryland, and I spoke to another doctor in Virginia. And I spoke to different doctors because I wanted to get their input on what they thought when it came to me specifically. Knowing my background, seeing my medical information, how did they think that this surgery would work for me? What were their thoughts on different avenues that I could take? Uh, and I got a lot of great feedback from the doctors, so I did that as well. Um, and I finally realized that I was ready because at first I was not ready. I remember going into the first doctor's office, and I asked them specifically. I was like, "Okay, will I be able to eat soul food?" And he was like, "Well, what do you mean by soul food?" I said, "The mac and cheese, the fried chicken, all of that stuff." He said, "No, not for the longest time. When you do something like this, it's because you're ready to make that long term life change when it comes to your eating habits." And at the time, I was not ready. Granted, at the time, I wasn't eating that stuff regularly, But I wasn't ready to make such a permanent change in my life that would dictate what I could or could not do. But finally, over the years, I started thinking about, you know, cautiously, like, what is it that is keeping me from doing it? What is it that's preventing me from being able to uh, really stay focused on getting to a healthy weight? I won't really say weight loss, but getting to a healthy weight, which of course ends up being weight loss. Um, but you can lose all the weight in the world and you still ain't healthy. I wanted to be healthy, but I also wanted to lose weight. Uh, and I thought about, okay, my what gets me sidetracked, good old carbs. I'm not a carb person in the sense of like the candies and the sweets and stuff. I'm a carb person in the sense of pastas and rice. I can eat a whole pot of rice and be just as content and happy. Uh, and I knew that those were gonna be things that were hard to give up. Um, but I also knew that those were things that I had to make serious changes with. Those are foods that I just know that are trigger foods for my body. As much as I love them, they're trigger foods for my body. But I know that just doing it on my own was not going to happen when it came to giving those foods up. Especially when you get to a point where you start losing weight and you looking in the mirror and you like, girl, you is doing it. Yes, good it, get it. And then all of a sudden you just get sidetracked. Because you're like, oh, I can cheat a little bit. I look real good right now. The next thing you know, you're having to keep restarting and keep restarting. So I knew that something like this was going to help prevent me from constantly getting off track. So I have the resources. I just needed something extra that was going to help keep me on track with doing what I needed to do in order to get healthier. Also, of course, during COVID, we've all been pretty much, it has changed our lifestyles. Prior to COVID, I was actually going to the gym every night. I'm not a morning time gym person. Nope. Because I hate waking up in the morning. I'm not a morning person at all. Um, and then also, I'm not one of those that gets out and goes running and stuff. But I will go to a gym and work on an elliptical machine. Once COVID hit, I don't care what kind of machines you have in there to filter the air and what you spraying down and stuff like that. I'm not touching those machines. I'm not going in a gym so that people can be spreading their COVID germs all over me or touching a machine or elliptical and tracking COVID on my shoes or something. I'm not doing none of that. So I stopped going to the gym. But because I stopped going to the gym, I didn't replace that stuff here at home. Like I didn't bring any type of gym equipment into my home, because one of the things I've also learned about myself is once I get into a routine, I have to stay in that routine, because once I get sidetracked, if something gets in the way of that routine, I fall completely off. And that's what happened with the gym. Like, I didn't go from the gym and then continue working out at home. I'm not a runner. And when COVID hit, it was still a little brisk outside. So I wasn't going out there walking. And then part of me, and it could be that I just watched too many horror movies growing up, but part of me, when it comes to walking outside by myself and everything, you know, a part of me is like, okay, somebody gonna jump out from the woods and they gonna get me, and it's gonna be a wrap. So, as a woman, you know, you always do have to be concerned about those things. And while some people are like, nah, it's not that serious. No, as a woman, 1 in 3 women are attacked. I don't want to be that 1 in 3. I want to be one of the 2 of the 3. So I don't take chances like that unless I'm with a group. I'm not going out walking like that by myself on no regular type of road that somebody could be hiding in some woods. So enough of the rambling. But yeah, so I realized that I was ready when, I had to look at those different factors. And then finally, what took the cake is I remember walking one day in the house And I realized that my walk had changed. Like I used to have a strut. With or without heels, I had a strut. But now I had a waddle. And my waddle was like that pregnant woman waddle. You know, it got to a point where, you eat something, all of a sudden you look like you a few months pregnant. Morning time, your stomach is flat. But it got to a point where I would wake up in the morning, my stomach wasn't flat no more, and I was not okay with that. So what really took it over the hill is when the vanity kicked in, and I was like, no, can't go out like this. So that's when I really got serious and was like, okay, I need to stop playing around. I got all the information that I'm going to get. Let me go ahead and make a point to get this done. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was like, well, it's not like you going anywhere anyway. You're stuck in COVID. So why don't you go ahead and get it now? That way, once you come out of COVID, you got that slim, trim body. Very good point, because I'm not going anywhere. I'm a very social person, and that I'm also a social eater, and I'm a social drinker. So this is the perfect time, because since I'm not going out and about, I know a lot of people that do go out and about. All the power to you. Stay safe, stay healthy, but that's just not my gist. I'm not doing it. I'll support DoorDash, something like that. But I'm not going out to different restaurants and everything, and I'm not out hanging out with my friends and stuff. So I don't have that vice on me. The social gathering vice, I don't have to worry about that because I'm not out there. So this is the perfect time to be able to just focus on me and focus on getting myself together and correcting the damage that I really did in 2020. Because 2020, I found them 20 pounds of COVID. So, yeah, so this is just going to highlight that journey, that process. I'm starting my pre-op soon. I'm going to let you all know what kind of doctor visits I had in order to prepare for this, the type of blood work that you should get done, different setbacks that I may have had that you may want to be cognizant of or cautious of about not having yourself. But yeah, I'm just hoping that I can provide you all with as much information as possible so that if you decide to take this journey, you've been able to see the journey that I'm taking and be able to gather up some great information from it. All right. So, again, be sure to subscribe, and like this so that you can stay on track with my journey. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.